Last night, the Republicans were dealt yet another defeat, this time in Wisconsin, and this time in the state Supreme Court. We've covered a lot of elections, many of them shocking over the past year. Not a lot have been for state Supreme Court seats, but here we have Judge Rebecca Dallet beating Judge Michael Screnock. Dallet is the Democrat in this case, and she won by like 11 points, pretty significant. And if I remember correctly, it's been something like 21 years since they won one of these elections. So that is certainly interesting, although not out of the norm for elections recently. So she's going to replace outgoing conservative Justice Michael Gableman, bringing the court's 5-2 conservative majority down to 4-3. So the conservatives will still have the lead for now, at the very least. Now, she had some help from outside of the state. Her endorsements came from former US Attorney General Eric Holder, former Vice President Joe Biden, and New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, amongst others.
Okay, wonderful development. First of all, we shouldn't be electing judges, just a random side note. And part of the reason why progressives hadn't won in Wisconsin for those kind of seats in a long time is because the courts decide a lot of cases that have to do with business interests. So what do business interests do? They pour in tons of money to make sure that their justices win, right? And they
Justices,
right? They literally buy justice. So I mean, you could have elections for court positions as long as you don't have money in politics. But if you have private financing of elections, then people can just. It's an open auction for the judges as well as for the politicians. It's insanity. But now there is such great fervor in the land for progressive victories and against Donald Trump that she won by a comfortable margin. Earlier in Wisconsin, there was that election that Scott Walker had called a wake-up call for the Republican Party. That was a seat that Donald Trump had won by 17 points. It was a state Senate seat. And now a Democrat won it in special elections. In fact, in this same state, Democrats have been so successful in these special elections that Scott Walker tried to end special elections completely. And the courts were, and as you can tell, the courts are actually conservative still to this day. It was 5-2, in fact, at the time. They're like, yeah, that's still illegal. You can't do that. You can't just say there are no more elections, right?
But they took it in stride. I actually think this is Pennsylvania, but they got the same sort of thing, and they were like, okay, we're gonna impeach all the justices.
That was
they didn't actually do it yet. They didn't actually do it, but they want to.
Not in Wisconsin, but they did. They are trying that in Pennsylvania. Now, that leads me to Scott Walker's tweets on this, which I found hilariously ironic. He said, tonight's results show we are at risk of a blue wave in Wisconsin. Goddamn right you are. The far left, hilarious, is driven by anger and hatred, even funnier. We must counter it with optimism and organization. Back to hilarious. Let's share our positive story with voters and win in November. The left is driven by anger and hatred? Are we the ones accusing others of being criminals and rapists and making sure that we ban whole groups of people from coming because we hate them so much and we're fearful of them? Are we the ones that did that tiki torch rally in Charlottesville filled with anger and hatred? It's their ability to project what they're thinking onto their opponents is limitless. So, and then I love the idea of Republicans with optimism. Like, oh my God, maybe immigrants will bring us good things. Maybe races being together is wonderful. Maybe gay Americans should have the same rights as straight Americans. I'm so optimistic. The Republican Party.
Yeah, by the way, I love that it doesn't matter who you are. If you're running as a Democrat, they'll just call you the far left. She's described as a liberal. I have no idea what her positions are. I don't know that she's some sort of crazy wide-eyed progressive. She's a liberal. And she's the far left. Be scared of the far left.
Well, it's not like there's any far right to be scared of, right?
No.
And it's not like they're in charge. So final tweet from Scott Walker is, big government special interests, again, hilarious, flooded Wisconsin with distorted facts and misinformation. Next, they'll target me.
Oh, that's what he's scared of.
Now we have why you're so animated. Anyway, and work to undo our bold reforms. tax cuts, destroying workers' rights. Anyway, we need to keep moving Wisconsin forward, make sure a blue wave of outside special interest money doesn't take us backward. Okay, his complaints about outside special interest money flooding into elections is just about as the peak of irony. If you remember, during the huge conflict in Wisconsin, and there was all the protests around the Capitol, and Scott Walker was besieged, which was a great thing. He won, fair is fair, right? But at the time, there was an activist who pretended to be one of the Koch brothers and called Governor Walker. And there was the tape, and he thought it was really one of the Koch brothers, who are special interest money
I forgot about that.
From outside the state. And Governor Walker was like, yes, sir, what can I do for you, sir? Absolutely, sir. What else would you need, sir? Oh, what happened? I thought you were getting special interest money from outside the state.
Well, those are really special interests.
If you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member. tytnetwork.com/join.